I'm Kim, the Abundant Traveler, and welcome to the channel. I am here to inspire you to go out there and see the world. I provide tips, tricks, hacks, ideas, and inspiration, making your travels much, much easier. Today, I'm continuing my series on the Amalfi Coast. What an incredible place to visit. I stopped in several locations, but today I'm talking about the town of Ravello. So let's go ahead and get started.
The Amalfi Coast is made up of 13 villages. Most of them are along the coastline along the Mediterranean, but Ravello is one of the 3 towns on the Amalfi Coast that is actually up in the mountains. It is at an altitude of about 1,200 feet or 350 meters, and it is a town of 2,500 people. What a wonderful place to visit, and if you're headed to the Amalfi, Ravello is a can't miss. So a little bit of history on Ravello. It was founded in the 5th century and it was used to escape from barbarian invasions along the coastline. It was also an important trading post up until about the year 1200. Around 1080, the town of Amalfi was extremely important and extremely powerful. So the Pope actually added a diocese in Ravello to counterweight the power of Amalfi. It's interesting, the town has about 2,500 people now, but in around 1200, there were 25,000 people that lived in Ravello. So how do you get to Ravello? It's quite easy because there is a wonderful bus system along the Amalfi Coast. It is called the Sita bus, S-I-T-A. It is very easy to get to Ravello from Sorrento. It's also relatively easy, about a 30-minute bus ride from Amalfi as well. Or if you're coming from Naples, you can take a bus or a train into Salerno or Sorrento and then take the bus up to Ravello. I do recommend being along the Amalfi Coast in the town of Amalfi if you want to go up to Ravello. It is the quickest way. The main bus stop is right there on the water. It's about 2.5 euros and it will only take you about 30 minutes to get up to Ravello. Just something to note, when you're dropped off by the Sita bus in Ravello, you are dropped off on the opposite side of a tunnel from a main piazza. So when you get dropped off, it doesn't look like much. So just go through the tunnel and then you end up in the main piazza. So what is the weather like in Ravello and what time of year should you go visit? Well, I would say go visit Ravello any time of the year. Please note that it is the rainy season, sort of November through January, and things might be closed in the off season. But going on the shoulder season, sort of April, May, and then September, October would be wonderful times to visit Ravello. The weather is about 10 to 12 degrees cooler than it is along the coastline on the Amalfi Coast. I was there in June and it was about 10 degrees cooler, especially in the evening. It was really nice and delicious because along the water, it was a good 95 degrees during the day. Very, very hot and very, very sticky. So it was nice to be up in Ravello and just a cool air, and the sun is a little bit different up there at altitude. So how long should you stay in Ravello? I recommend spending a couple of nights in Ravello. Most people go to Ravello just on a day trip. They're in Amalfi or in Sorrento and they pop in and they pop out, which means since everybody is on a day trip, then the best thing to do is to spend the night, because then you get the town all to yourself. By mid to late afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the town empties out of the day trippers. You can do all the shopping you want to do. You can go have a cocktail in the main piazza, go to dinner at some of the 5-star hotels or some of the local places. The whole atmosphere changes and the light is beautiful in the evening to watch the sunset. If you have more time, it is a beautiful place, very laid back, very casual, really, really beautiful place to stay. If you can stay more, stay more. So I mentioned how to get to Ravello, but what kind of transportation do you need while you're in the city? Actually, you don't need any. There's usually plenty of parking on the outskirts of town, or your hotel will have parking, but there's really no reason to have a car. The town is very walkable. Again, it's extremely small, and you really just don't need any kind of transportation. Something to note, there are lots of steps up and down and up and down, and since it is a city that has been around since the 5th century, there are going to be steps that are well worn and slick, so make sure that you bring shoes that have a really good sole and you are quite stable when you're walking around in that type of shoe rather than, you know, flip-flops or stilettos or something like that. Don't bring stilettos. Don't go to the Amalfi and bring stilettos. It's just a bad idea. Since we're talking about stilettos and good soled shoes, let's talk about some other things to pack if you're coming to Ravello. Also, if you want the perfect packing guide for going to the Amalfi Coast, make sure to go to the description below. Click the free download. It is everything that you're going to need, from being at the beach to going to fancy restaurants to hiking the Path of the Gods. Everything that you're going to need for visiting the Amalfi. So go to the description below and click the free download. So the clothes that you're going to need, great Amalfi clothes. You need some wonderful shoes that have a really good sole, as I've already mentioned. In Ravello, I do recommend, it is quite a casual city, so you can wear shorts or a skirt or great sort of Columbia type clothes during the day. In the evenings, people are dressed a little bit better than casual travel wear, but not as fancy as Positano or Capri. In fact, it's not fancy at all. I would recommend bringing a scarf in the evening for the ladies, or gentlemen, I would bring a sleeved shirt and maybe some lightweight khaki pants, just because in the evening it's just a little bit cooler. Again, it depends on the time of year you're going. If you're going in the winter, then make sure to bring a jacket, a scarf, maybe a hat, and definitely bring an umbrella if you're there in the winter season. So I'm always asked if places are safe for solo female travelers. Honestly, Ravello and the Amalfi Coast in general is extremely safe for solo female travelers. It's easy to get around. It's easy to find single accommodation without an upcharge necessarily. The buses are really good. They run most of the time, and almost everybody there is a tourist or in the tourism industry. I walked around in the evenings after dark without a problem. I also was out after dinner at say 10:30, 11 o'clock. Didn't have any issues whatsoever. So yes, Ravello is extremely, extremely safe, ladies. Go on a solo trip and enjoy it. So let's talk about where to stay now that we have talked about how long to stay. There are some wonderful 5-star hotels. There is the Caruso, which is a Belmond. There is the stunning Villa Cimbrone, which you have to go there. I'll talk about that in a moment. And there is also the Palazzo Confalone. I think I said that correctly. There are a lot of 5-star hotels in Ravello for as small of a city that it is. If you're interested, I have put a link to a bunch of hotels from Ravello in the description below. The important thing when you're picking a hotel is to pick a hotel as close to the center of town as possible. There are not a ton of hotels in the area, so you want to make sure that you're staying within 4/10 of a mile of the main piazza. Don't be staying out in the Netherlands and a mile and a half away or 5 miles away, because when you're searching for hotels, those hotels will pop up as well. So do pay attention to the distance to the main piazza, because that is the heart of the town. When I was doing research for hotels in Ravello, I saw a lot of the names were B&Bs or they were Nonna's something, and Nonna is grandma in Italian. So a lot of the accommodation is more old school Italian, very laid back, sort of old tile, old colors and all of that. So just be prepared, unless you're staying at the gorgeous 5-star hotels like the Caruso or the Villa Cimbrone. It's more family run type of hotels is what I found in the city of Ravello. So let's talk about the shopping, the food, and what things cost. Well, the number one thing to buy in the area is the pottery. There is so much pottery that is available in the area, and my recommendation of the place to go is the Ceramica of Pascal. I went to his store. He has the most beautiful pottery, very unique designs that are specific to his particular Ceramica. Pascal is the way to go, and he is located in the main part of town, just about a 3-minute walk from the main piazza. There are other Amalfi goodies that you can purchase in Ravello, including things like limoncello, linen, blues, yellows, clothing, all of that. It is quite a sophisticated little town, so get your shop on. It is a great place to go shopping. I also recommend going to the art gallery, the Petite Prince. It has a wonderful collection of original art, and if you are into art, it's a perfect place to go shopping. They'll ship it, or you can actually buy online if you don't want to go to Ravello. So that's a little bit about the shopping. There are a couple of places that I recommend that you go while you're in Ravello to eat. One is Cumpa Cosimo. Oh my goodness, the food is delicious. It is written up everywhere, super casual. Yes, you can make a reservation. But it is a very casual restaurant. I had a rabbit there, which is not typically something you're gonna find on the Amalfi Coast, and it was absolutely delicious. It is run by Mama Netta and her son. And let me tell you, you have to behave while you're at Cumpa Cosimo, because if you're nice and Mama Netta likes you, then you might get some free limoncello. She might bring you a dessert. And if you're slow to order, she's gonna like walk away and go do something else and finally come back to you and see if you're ready to order. It was such a wonderful experience, and the food was dynamite. Dynamite, dynamite, dynamite. Another place that I recommend is Mimi's Pizza. I am gluten-free. They did not have any gluten-free, but my friend said the pizza was some of the best that she had in the Amalfi Coast. We went there for lunch. And I also recommend going to a place called Wine and Drugs. I am a big wine person, and though this particular Wine and Drugs, the people who work there are extremely educated about wine. They have hand-picked wines throughout Campania, which is the area. They have gorgeous, gorgeous wines. They'll let you taste anything as well. Also, they have a wonderful collection of wines from all over Italy. So if you're looking for high quality, amazing, unique wines to ship back to your home country, go to Wine and Drugs and do a tasting with them. I bought 2 or 3 bottles. Of course, only one made it back to the US with me because I drank them all. Those are my highlight recommendations for food and wine. There are plenty of places to eat, including these 5-star hotels, but those were some of my favorites. So between the shopping and the food, what you're typically gonna pay for things, you're going to pay in the main piazza near the church of the Duomo. You're going to be paying $2.50 to $3.50 for, and this is in euros, for a coffee in the morning. It's a beautiful place with the sunrise to have a coffee, but it is a little more on the expensive side. I would say pizzas are 12 to 14 euros. Whereas like in Naples, it can be 5 to 7 to 8 euros. My Cumpa Cosimo meal was with wine was maybe 28 to 30 euros. I had 2 courses, which I would say is very well priced. Oh, there was one other place that I recommend going, and that is the Garden. It is a beautiful restaurant with delicious food. They also have a rooftop bar that they have delicious cocktails and a beautiful view of the coastline and Minori, the town of Minori that you're overlooking. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous views. Forgot to mention that one. So with hotel pricing, you can spend $60 or $70 a night for a hotel or a B&B or a Nona's place, or you can spend $100 to $200. I would say you're going to end up in a 4-star plus with up to about $200 a night. And then you're getting to the 5-star hotels like the Caruso and the Villa Cimbrone, and you are gonna be spending $800 to several $1,000s a night. So it just depends on the type of accommodation you want. If you've got the money, then go to Villa Cimbrone. That would be my choice. Speaking of Villa Cimbrone, let's talk about the places that you have to go when you're in Ravello. Again, I recommended 2 days. I've given you some hotels. I've given you some restaurants. Now we're gonna talk about the things to do. Villa Cimbrone is my favorite thing that I saw. It is the gardens that you go, and it's about a 10-minute walk from the main piazza in Ravello. So you go to Villa Cimbrone. It is 10 euros to get in. It is well worth it. They are open from 9 o'clock in the morning until sunset. The most beautiful thing is Villa Cimbrone is on the peninsula, and so you can overlook the Mediterranean, and it is some of the most beautiful gardens I have ever seen. It is one of the best examples of the English garden that you will find in Southern Europe. It is well worth the 10 euros, and it is well worth the 10 to 12-minute walk to get to Villa Cimbrone. Well worth it. The other villa that is a must-see in Ravello is Villa Rufolo. This is one of the most famous, and probably the most famous place to visit in Ravello. This particular villa is where they have the summer concert, where the concert stage is actually hanging over the ledge. So the people watching are watching it, and they're looking at the concert with the symphony, and they have the beautiful view of the Mediterranean below them. This particular villa used to be one of the wealthiest villas and one of the biggest in all of the area. Today it's empty, not much furniture, but the rooms are gorgeous with these big beautiful doors and these sweeping doors out overlooking the Mediterranean. Beautiful tile work as well, and gorgeous, gorgeous gardens. The Villa Rufolo is open until I think 8 p.m. in the evening, so it's not sunset, and it is €7 to visit this villa. Well worth going to both. My favorite gardens were Villa Cimbrone though. Piazza Vescovado is the main piazza in Ravello. It is a great meeting point. There are lots of shops off on the side streets from there. It's also a great place to have a cocktail not in the morning. Have a cocktail in the evening, have coffee in the morning because the light is beautiful, and you see the Duomo on one side, and then on the other side is a railed, beautiful view of the mountains behind you. This is also where you're going to see the Duomo, and the Duomo was a Baroque and Romanesque style built around the 11th century. It is a beautiful church, and if you go there and hang out in the piazza, especially on the weekends, you're bound to see a wedding or 2 or 3 because Ravello is very famous for having weddings. In fact, one of my college friends' daughter just got married there last week. So go see the Duomo, go see the main piazza. Also, the Villa Rufolo is just off the main piazza as well. So it's the hub of the city, and it is a blessed meeting point for you. And it's a place to go if you can only spend a day. Spend 2 nights. But if you can only spend a day, you're going to want to congregate around the main piazza. And one of the most beautiful places to get married, and I would say just a gorgeous, gorgeous garden in general, is next door to Villa Confalone. It was purchased by the city of Ravello in the early 1900s, and they refurbished this beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous garden called Belvedere di Princesa di Piemonte. I hope I said that even close to be correct, but it is a gorgeous garden, great place to take photos, and also a gorgeous view of the coastline when you go along the edge of it. Very, very small, easy to miss, but well worth stopping by. I hope that you found this video on Ravello valuable. It means the world to me if I can make your travels easier and more fun. I am Kim, the Abundant Traveler, and I hope to see you on the Amalfi Coast very, very soon. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Take care, y'all. See you soon.